Hey guys, so my first ASA of the season is done, and I've got a ton of questions about how I did, how I liked it, my equipment, what I was going to practice in the future, what I wanted to change. So I just wanted to answer all of that in one video in one place just to make it simple. So just to start off, I want to say I had a blast. The people are awesome. ASA is so fun. And so much of what I shoot right now is so stressful, like indoor and target and FIDA. And so to go shoot an ASA was so refreshing to just shoot my bow and have a good time and relax. So I do plan on shooting all of the ASAs that don't overlap a target event, like a World Cup or a USAT or something like that. So I had a blast and I do plan on coming back. Now, the first thing I'll say is what division I shot. I shot Women's Known 50, which is actually a new division in ASA. They just made it for this year. And our goal for the division is to turn it into a Women's Known Pro class. The men obviously have a known pro, and that's something that I know a bunch of us women want and we're looking forward to. If you look at the divisions in ASA as far as non-pro divisions that are below the pro class, there's not many women shooting in the unknown divisions, but there are a ton of women shooting in those known divisions that could potentially feed a women's known pro. So the goal of the Women's Known 50 is over the next few years to hopefully turn that into a pro class. So I'm going to continue shooting Women's K50 to, encourage other women to come join as well. So I finished fourth. Normally I'd be pretty mad about finishing fourth, but I'm not because I'm pretty much an ASA rookie and there was a lot that I need to learn and a lot that I did learn and what I need to work on in the future. So that's kind of what I'm going to touch on here in this video. So the first thing I want to say is my setup. I've had a ton of questions about my sight setup. I shot a Shrewd 29mm housing with an 8-power feather vision lens. It is a very, very weak 8. It's more like a 7. And then a Hamsky peep with a C power clarifier and a 3/64 aperture. So everything about that was awesome. I could actually see lines, like 10 lines and 12 lines on some of the targets for the first time. And that was refreshing. So I'm actually not going to change anything about that. My arrows were good, bow was good, everything else is fine. I'm not touching anything. The one thing that if I could change it, I would be my scope housing size. I wish I could shoot a 35mm housing instead of the 29mm housing, but I can't, and here's why. To see anything, I have to shoot a 3/64 peep. Even for target, if I go bigger at this point with my vision than a 3/64, I can't see anything. So with that said, I don't have a very big field of view out of my peep. Now, the other thing that plays into that is one, just your eyes, but two, also the distance that your peep is from your eye. So somebody else may have a different experience with this than myself, but again, this is my setup and what I can see. So, with that said, when I order my Excels, I order a 9-inch bar and I run it either the third hole out or farther, third hole from the back. So I'm basically running my scope all the way out already. And even with that, I can barely see the housing of my 29mm housing if it's sunny. So I can't put a 35 on there or I would not be able to see it. So there's not much point. If I could shoot a bigger peep, I would. If I could even run my sight out farther to make the 35 work, I would. But with my eyes, yes, I've tested all of that and I cannot currently make any of it work. So I'm stuck with the 29mm housing. The downfall of that is if I have to lead off on, let's say, a black target, I can't see above its back and below its belly at the same time. So you just kind of get lost in the black. A bigger field of view is nice on those targets if you lead off on one like that. But I'm stuck with that and that just kind of is what it is. So anyway, that's the only thing I would change if I could, and I can't, but I'm okay with it. Now here's what I'm going to work on moving forward. There's a couple things. The first thing being I need to learn how to aim off. And what I learned is that it's very important you learn how to aim off with your individual sight setup. So what I see, let's say if I want to hit a 1/2 inch off an arrow or an inch off an arrow, with an 8 power, that's going to look a lot different through my scope and what I see than someone shooting a 4 power. So you really need to practice that with your own setup to learn this is what I need to see to hit this far off, and so on. That's just something that I need to practice, and I need to practice it on the targets. Now, here's the main thing that I think hurt me this weekend and what I really need to work on moving forward. when I shoot target, my pin moves. Okay, you all know I shoot an 8 or 9 power, and I do run it all the way out on that housing, so it is magnified. I have a long like peep to, pin measurement. It moves, but very often my pin will break out, let's say in the 9 ring, but I'll still hit the X. The reason being that I have trained my subconscious mind over all of these years that as soon as my pin leaves the middle, my mind is already bringing it back before I've even consciously realized that it left. Anyone that shot at least target for a while should know that's a thing. That's a real thing. And the more you shoot, the better your mind is going to get at auto-correcting that sight movement. So I've trained my mind for so long to do that, but it's incredibly hurtful in ASA, and here's why. If somebody hit, let's say, the connector or like the IBO, so the middle, and I was like, cool, I'm going to aim just low right of their arrow to hit a 12. I would aim low right, my shot would break low right, I would think everything's good, but I would end up like almost inside their arrow or like also in the middle. And over the course of the weekend, I pretty much figured out 99.99% sure that my mind in that last like split second before my bow breaks is like, or as it's breaking, it's like auto-correcting to bring me back to the middle. I hit so many IBOs, which is safe, but that's not good when you're trying to hit 12s. It's not good enough to win in a known division or be that competitive. So that's something that I'm going to have to learn how to break moving forward in ASA. And I don't exactly know how to do it. I'm going to go shoot the targets and I'm just going to practice shooting them a lot and hopefully, my mind will adjust. But I've trained it for so many years to do that. And now all of a sudden I'm like, hey, stop, don't help me. Like let my bow aim edgy and let it hit edgy. And my brain is going to take a little bit to be okay with that. So I am going to shoot the targets. One, to learn obviously how to aim off. And then second, how to just commit to my shot and like let my mind commit to where my pin is and not try to bring it back to the middle. I had a ton of fun. It was a really good time. I love ASA. I'm going to keep shooting it, but it is frustrating knowing, sorry, don't mind my dogs. It is frustrating knowing that you're making good shots and I'm doing what I want, but I'm not quite hitting 12s or, I'm not quite hitting where I want. So those are the things I'm going to practice. That's what I need to work on. I do have a range of targets. I don't have all of them though, because they have changed the targets over the years. So I'm going to have to get a few of the new ones to work and practice with those. But I will see everybody in the future. I will go to all the ASAs that I can. I really hope that this answers any of the questions that you guys had about the ASA. And hopefully I will see you guys out at a tournament sometime soon.